Yay! So I'm Erica Ridley.
I'm Darcy Burke.
I'm Courtney Milan.
And we are happy to be here chatting with you guys this evening.
Yes.
Yes.
On this lovely spring day. It's a lovely spring day here. I hope it's
Yeah.
lovely where you are.
I was seeing snow on people's Twitter feeds, so it's...
I saw that it was going to snow in Chicago today or something.
Yeah, my mom said they're supposed to get 3 inches, something like that.
That's
kind
what
of
she
ridiculous.
said. Sorry.
So, sorry. For those of you... Well, actually, unless you like snow, in which case, yay!
Yay.
So,
Awesome.
So, am I asking you questions?
Yeah,
Next
this
question.
is...
Oh, we did have a previous question. Someone
Oh.
wanted to know how we came up with the idea for the Wicked Dukes, and someone wanted to know what you were working on now.
Okay.
So those are the 2 questions we have so far. If you guys have more questions, leave them in the comments. And
If not, I'm just asking them questions the rest of the time.
Do you want to start with your questions? Or
No,
do
you
you
should
want to
start
talk
with the
about...
questions that other, like, actual people ask, not the
okay.
ones that I have made
Not,
up.
okay, all right. All right.
I mean, like, actual people questions are much better than that.
Okay. Wicked
Okay.
Dukes Club. How did we come
Yeah.
up with that? Should be here. I feel like I need to do
Okay.
that a little
Yeah, I'm just gonna
Okay.
slide out of the frame for a second.
Once upon a time,
many moons ago.
many moons ago, I don't know, we came up with an idea to do something together, which we write about, and we said no clowns. We said
Definitely not the murderous kind.
right, yeah, and something in the Regency, since that's what we're writing,
And I really wanted personally to write something that was adjacent to what most of the books were at the time, so it would fulfill kind of reader expectations in that way insofar as Dukes, but also to kind of open it up to people who weren't necessarily part of the aristocracy and be able to talk about regular people living regular lives. And this gave us an opportunity to mix both those worlds together and tell kind of a different kind of story.
I agree. I think was once we landed on that part of the Wicked Duke Tavern, where it could be a place where, sort of like Cheers, where everybody could come and mingle regardless of their background. That was very appealing to us, and I thought that we could write it in an awesome way and make it appealing to all of you, so hopefully it is.
So hopefully, let us know what you think.
Yeah.
As long as you think good things. Otherwise, it's fine if you don't share.
I do not believe in free speech.
I don't know.
Oh, I should have known that. That's what you get when you live outside the U.S.
Right?
Just kidding.
You guys and
So
your
you
culture.
can read the first book, Erica's, actually now. It's out there. So it's
One Night for Seduction just came out last week, and then
One Night for Surrender comes out on Tuesday, so day after tomorrow, and you can pre-order it now. And those are your Dukes, and then in a couple weeks you'll get Erica's next book, One Night of Passion.
and so every 2 weeks until all 6 books are out. So you're going to be able to read one fortnightly.
Fortnightly.
Yeah.
It's a live binge.
Yes, definitely binge. And the other question that we had before we started the live was to this lovely lady.
And the question was, what am I working on? And the answer is far too many things. I don't suggest working on lots of things at once, but nonetheless, I am doing something I don't suggest. So I am working on The Devil Comes Courting, which is a book about a woman who is figuring out how to do telegraph stuff in Asian languages, which is like right up my alley of dorkiness. I like dorky people because I am dorky people. I can't really write non-dorky people. I've tried. I really have tried.
How does that work out for you?
Yeah, it's like I start out and I'm like, this Duke is going to be a rake, and then he's like, I'm a rake and I do math.
Right.
So yeah, it doesn't. The way it works for me is every once in a while I'll like have this idea that sounds like it's not a dork, and then like almost instantly I start writing them, and it's like the dorkiest version of whatever I had imagined.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I can't escape it.
Yeah.
You know, I do write multiple kinds of dorks. I just want to make that clear. There's a lot of variety.
Dork variety.
Yeah, like I have awkward dorks. I have like socially adept dorks. Like I do that whole range.
The gamut of dorks.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And then there's people who...
The spectrum of
And then there's
dorks.
people who are like, you know, good at math,
will.
and people who are good at science, and people who are good at literature, and people who are good at law, and there's people who are good at like mountain climbing, which is a different kind of dorkiness, but still
So,
dorky.
Where is your Dork Duke series?
Dork Duke series? That's a
money.
really good
And why
question.
don't you have a book codenamed Dork Duke? That's really.
I actually have not, but literally every book I've written about a Duke could have been codenamed Dork Duke.
Right. Okay. All right.
So, yeah,
Hashtag goals.
yeah, honestly, I feel completely called out right here. So,
and I love that you can't see my expressions for any of it. Great.
Okay, so let's try and get Darcy back in the frame a little bit. Sharon has a question. I'm going to try and see what it is. When you and Darcy are writing the Wicked Dukes Club, do you complete one book, and then it just went off the screen, for the other to read, and then she follows by writing about the character in the previous? Sort of, yeah. So we have a series Bible where we plot out our stories. We actually talk to each other a lot on the phone or in text messages or whatever to make sure we all know the story world and all the characters. And particularly for the first 2 books, we very much plotted those, and we try to have them done. Well, we always have them done in advance so that the other person can read them. My first reader is Darcy.
Same.
So that we can keep the continuity going through the series.
This reader is also Darcy.
It is. Which is actually kind of makes sense.
That's true.
That's
true. My first reader is Erica.
Sorry.
And Erica was my first reader probably ever.
Yeah, same. So Darcy and I have been reading each other's work since the dawn of time.
The dawn of time. We used to send scenes every day. You can
Smoke
imagine.
signals. Yeah.
My smoke signal, right.
Yeah.
Morse code.
My dinosaur.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's
Just
what...
how I write.
And it's funny because, I'll write my book and I'll have a scene with one of Erica's characters and I'll just leave a section that says, write dialogue here.
Yeah.
So that Erica can insert something that has something her character would say.
And I do the same thing. When I include Darcy's characters, I have them say really vague dialogue, or sometimes it'll just be parentheses that says, Darcy, whatever he's passionate about, right here. And so we help each other to make sure it stays in the series.
Yeah. Okay,
I
so...
don't know. Does it show all the comments? Or should
It
we
does.
look
It's
at
all...
it?
We can scroll back, but it looks like we're seeing pretty much everything. Yeah, we're seeing everything.
All right, I'm just going to start asking you questions.
Okay.
And hopefully the questions will be bad enough that other people will be forced to call in. It's not what it's called, right? Type in.
It is now.
Call in.
Call in, type in.
Whatever you... I don't know. This is literally the first time I've ever done
Let us
anything
know
on
what
Facebook
you
Live.
want to know. We'll answer anything. Anything.
So, why would you say... Okay, so I'm about to ask you anything. So, as many people know, Game of Thrones is coming on in, an hour and, 49 minutes. Not to be exact about it. But we have some really important questions. And first of all, my question for you, too, is imagine all the characters you've ever written, both of you, got in a giant battle. Who wins, who dies first?
I will let Darcy start this because...
Oh, no, they're fighting each other.
They're
wait.
fighting.
All your characters are fighting each other. So you have to decide jointly which of your characters is the biggest badass.
all of our backlist characters...
Or
Every-
Wicked Dukes. Or
Every single character
Ooh.
you've ever written, including the ones in books that went
Daisy
under the bed.
wins. Daisy wins.
Daisy wins?
With her scientific
Oh
wand.
gosh, Daisy wins.
All right.
Damn it, Daisy does win.
So I have a tooth fairy who's terrible at magic, but she's great at science. And she has made a fake magic wand that actually does science.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't ever work out the way she thinks it will, but I still think she will decimate everyone.
Yeah, probably.
I agree,
Who-
and I haven't.
Who
I've
dies
written-
first?
I'll have to do that because I don't have any paranormal characters. Well, that's not true.
She's actually not paranormal.
They don't have to be
That's true. Well,
She is That's like saying a vampire is not paranormal because they're a scientist. That's not fair. She's a tooth fairy.
But it's her job. She was a scientist.
Hello? Are you saying that her paranormal occupation...
what's Daisy's book's name?
Must
Today.
Love Magic. Actually, I'm re-releasing these books in the summertime. So I believe that one is called Must Love Magic. It's on pre-order right now for
It is seriously one of the greatest books you ever read because it's like a rom-com, paranormal. It's just like you read it and you can see it as a movie and you will laugh out loud, pee your pants if that's your thing. funny. And I want everybody to read it and buy it because there's a book in the series that I really need her to finish because she started it 10 years ago and I'm desperate to read the rest of it and it doesn't exist. So please help me. and read the series. So, now who's gonna die? And okay, so I
You should pick because I picked out.
Okay, all right. Who's gonna die?
Die first, not just die.
Die
They're all gonna
first.
die except Daisy.
Die first.
Just want to make that clear.
I'm gonna go with God, this is hard. Because
You're
I'm
not heartless enough. That's the problem.
No, I'm trying to think of somebody
you actually
who
care about your
somebody
character.
who wouldn't be able to protect themselves, but maybe that's not
She
really
didn't
the
say
issue.
a protagonist.
No,
It
no,
can be anyone.
no. I know. And so I'm thinking of I'm thinking,
I know, right?
thinking of secondary characters and.
Do you have any like actual babies? Because I'm thinking like actual babies would go first. Like, does anyone?
This is taking a dark turn. Someone please ask a question.
God.
This is a battle. If a baby goes into battle, it's not doing well. I'm
What's
sorry.
the baby doing in the battle?
I put them there because I'm a bad person. That's what.
This is horrible.
Toddlers,
I don't.
cats.
No, you're not killing my cat.
We're not. I'm not killing your cats. Your own characters are killing your cats. That's what's happening.
All right, I'd probably kill someone's mom or dad that is old and infirm.
Yeah, that's a good choice. Good
Like,
choice.
I don't know.
Kill the old.
One foot in the grave anyway.
You can see why we write historical romance and not grimdark fantasy.
Oh my god. Actually, I think the first person who should die would be, back to my first series, the Duke of Holborn, because he's very Tywin Lannister. And in fact, it's really interesting because I could see Charles Dance playing him in the movie. So I think that he would be a good one to die. No, it's the Earl of Saxton's dad. So
that's right.
It's
Okay.
Jasper's dad.
Jasper's
from
dad.
His Wicked
That's what I
Heart.
was thinking. Yeah.
He's a pretty nasty, horrible SOB. So I'm sure he would take an arrow to the chest while he's on the privy.
Yeah. Sounds good.
That's how Tywin Lannister dies.
Spoiler!
Erica doesn't watch Game of Thrones.
I know anyone else who doesn't knows how Tyler Lannister dies.
She whispered it. You know?
I did. And,
Okay. Next question.
Okay. So the next question I have for you is Arya, who is a character in Game of Thrones, which you do not watch, is a list maker. And by list maker, it means that she makes a list of everyone that she wants to kill because they have wronged her. And so I want to know. So first of all, Darcy, I want you to tell us, is Erica a list maker or not a list maker?
Of people I want to kill or just in general?
Just grudges, you know. I assume that neither of you actually have like a list of people you would actively decide to kill. I'm hoping.
I used to. Like in middle school.
Darcy has a list.
I had a list of people.
She has a blacklist.
I had a list of people that I'm legitimately serious. I had a list of people that I wished would not die, but just not bother
Not
me
prosper.
anymore,
Yeah.
and not be a
Sure,
thorn in my side
Yeah.
anymore, and maybe would meet some sort of misfortune. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Darcy is a list maker.
Yeah. What about you?
I'm not. I'm not a grudge holder. I'm the
Okay.
person who 2 weeks later I don't even remember the conversation. So
Yeah.
I mean to be mad for a while, but probably if you invite me out for ice cream or something, all is forgiven.
Yeah. Got it.
And I'm generally like that too. I mean, I don't even. If you ask me who the people on the list were in middle school, I don't really remember. So I just remember thinking that there were
Yeah.
people.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Middle school's rough.
I don't. Middle school actually, I think is
That is like real life Game of Thrones.
Oh my gosh, so much like Lord of the Flies.
Yes, for
It's
sure.
the worst.
Like a lazy Susan here. This is
We totally do. I know. It's like you
Yes.
have to use like
You really just want them to go away. Yes,
yes,
Peggy.
yes.
And Lori says, those characters might not let you kill them off. They can always be redeemed. Characters do sometimes have minds of
Sometimes
their
they can
own.
be redeemed. Some of them, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's always a tricky thing who gets to be redeemed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not always the person you
Or whether
think.
you get justice, because not always...
No, we don't always get justice.
No. Do you do that in books? Do you find that you maybe don't want to tie everything up as neatly as like
I've gotten
some
to
people
the
might
point
think
where
that you would.
I've gotten to the point where I think sometimes the happy ending is realizing that someone is toxic and doesn't need to be part of your life, and they may have a
Right.
redemption off of screen, but like they don't need to have a redemption with you.
It's not part of
Like
that hero story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I do think there are some people where I'm not going to write them off as people forever, but there is a point where you've had enough history with someone that you say, you know what, I am not responsible for having to make this person a part of my emotional life anymore.
I agree.
I agree.
So
Yeah. I've actually gotten letters from people who expected the neat tie-up. In the Dukes of War series, I had kind of an ongoing bully
Mm-hmm.
that would occasionally come by and was very full of himself and
Mm-hmm.
just be horrible.
Yeah.
And people would email and be like, well, in which book will he, fall off
Yeah.
a cliff to his
Yeah.
grisly
I've
doom?
heard that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never. And I realize it seems like an untied loose end, but the
So-
bullies don't always get...
Right. So
Like,
that
what
happened with me in the Untouchables. In the very first book, there was a guy that had treated the heroine badly like 9 years before or whatever, and that book was that series was 12 books, and so people would say, "Whatever happened to that guy?" And I remember by like book 7, 8, I'm like, I don't know what happened to that guy. He just went off and got married to somebody else, and that was the last we saw of him. But then there was a way in a book that I was able to bring him back and kind of tell what happened to him after that. So I think that was kind of cool.
Yeah, sometimes it works out.
Sometimes it works out, but I wasn't looking for that. It just,
Right.
So do you find that people, when they're talking about characters that want redemption, do you find that they tend to focus on male characters? Because I have found, like, if there's a woman character who is, like, even just, like, a little bit bitchy, everyone's like, throw her off a cliff.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
But on the other hand, like, a guy's like, okay, so I was the actual villain, and I, like, literally killed your dog, and people are like, when is he getting his story?
Yes. No, and
And then, like, I don't know. How do you
Preach.
feel about that?
I feel very strongly about it because my very first book, you read that book, you quoted the book, I believe. It's was The Orphanage, and the heroine was, at the time I pitched her as like Paris Hilton, because she was very stuck up. She's daughter of the Duke of Holborn, who I was going to kill, so great. So she's not Cersei Lannister. Let's just clear that up right now. She's not quite that bad. But the whole point of the book is like a massive character arc for her, where she goes from extremely selfish to selfless and falling for this non-noble hero who gives his life to orphans, and she wants to be a part of that. And people are so mixed on that. And I feel like if that had been a male character making that big of an arc, because I've done that before too. I mean, I literally in that series took a guy who was the villain in book. I mean, he kidnapped the heroine in book 3, and is a bad guy. Like he's a bad guy. And then 4 books later, I redeem him, and he's the hero of his own story, and people love that.
Yeah, I mean, people love the Lisa Kleypas Double in Winter, where he literally the book before kidnaps the heroine, and
absolutely,
tries to trap her into marriage. And if you think about it, that's actually a really bad thing to do to somebody.
It's a really bad thing to do. Yeah.
But we're totally fine with it. So it's kind of interesting. It's like,
no, you're right.
I love the idea of redemption. I just kind of want to be equal opportunity with it.
I completely agree. I'm so glad you brought that up. I feel very strongly about it, actually.
Yeah. I'm a
because I actually find myself gravitating more. I want to write those stories more for women.
Yeah.
Like I have to tell myself to kind of tone it back sometimes because you get the, well, she's bitchy. Oh, sorry, you can't see me. She's bitchy, and we don't want we don't want that. We want, it's like if a guy does it, it's alpha, and if the woman does it, it's bitchy.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely a double standard, a frustrating one, because it makes it hard when you're creating your characters, because you want flawed characters who have room to grow.
Right.
But I'm always very cognizant that whatever my female character's flaw is, I will be getting emails about that. And like you said, the man's flaw, well, that just, he's human. And
as a very flawed character myself,
right?
I feel kind of weird, like, not wanting to think that I'm a decent person, even despite my many flaws.
Mm-hmm.
Someone asked, is it easier to write a bad character?
I don't.
It depends on the bad.
I'm going to say it's easiest, for me personally, to write a highly motivated character.
Yes.
If that is for bad or good reasons, it's irrelevant. But the stronger their motivation, the more they want whatever their clearly defined goal is, that character just flies off the page.
I agree.
I have a hard time if they're, like, actually, like, immoral. I mean, I can write those people, but it's very hard for me to get in the head and be there, and especially if they're a protagonist. I have tried to do, like, protagonists before who, like, are actively bad, and I can't do it. I
think it comes back to, for me, what Erica was saying about the motivation, because if I can't understand the motivation, it's harder for me to write it. So if I can't understand that level of immorality or just pure evil, then it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard for me to write people that lack basic empathy, right?
Yes.
Like, I don't think I could write a hero, and some people do, and I've loved books where people do this well. It's just not my personal, not my personal, like, repertoire. But I don't think I can write a book where the hero lacks basic empathy for the heroine and learns it over the course of the book, right? Like, for me, I think one of the things that happens is, like, he identifies with her and empathizes with her and maybe frustrated as heck with her, but, you know, like, views her as a person from the get-go. I think I have a really hard time with somebody who just lacked basic empathy for another human being.
I agree with regard to the love interest, but I've written from villains' point of views, and then...
Yeah, I don't really have villains.
You don't have villains.
Like, on the Game of Thrones scale, I think you are, like, most Game of Thrones, and then Darcy, and then me. Is that right?
Is it? You've killed people in books?
Plenty.
Yes, same.
Yeah. I've never killed... I've had one person...
She has never killed anybody in a book.
I've never murdered anyone in a book.
Right.
I've had people die of natural causes.
Very not Game of Thrones-y.
From what I understand. I've had one person die of natural causes, let me specify. And then occasionally I maybe have, like, 2 or 3 books where somebody punched someone else. And that's the level of violence I can manage.
I had 2 whole books about a fight club. So.
Yeah, exactly. Different types.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yet, she's going to watch Game of Thrones in a little while and be really excited about it. So.
Yeah, you know, that's Grandfather Dan.
Oh, okay.
It is. I actually have issues with the level of violence. You'll know you haven't watched it with me yet, and so you don't know that I actually hide for about half of it. Okay. And, like, normally when I'm watching with my husband, I just go like this, and then he tells me when I can look again. So someone is gonna have to serve that role here.
A volunteer's tribute.
Yeah.
But there have been a couple of times I've had to do this.
Yeah,
I had to do this for Game of Thrones.
For me, it's about, like, 20% of the episode.
Okay, all right.
And actually, this coming episode is probably going to be, like, 78%.
Fair enough. Do we have any other Courtney, bless your kind of...
It's more wimpy at times. I just want to throw that out there. I mean, I really appreciate that. But I recognize that this is not coming from a place of just kindness. It's just
cowardice.
Sheer cowardice. Exactly.
It's close. There was some kind of cuff words.
Excellent.
Okay. Get in frame and ask a question.
Oh, you have any other questions?
Oh, yeah. So I guess my next question for you, doing the eyebrow flick. My next question for you is going to be, I'm trying to remember my list, and I should have brought my list, so I had it here. But it was going to be, total blank now. This is great.
This is live. This is live.
This is
what we do.
Audience, if you have questions, comments,
I will think of my actual question because it was so good. I wrote it down. I was giggling, and then now it's.
Is it about death? Is it about? Was it Game of Thrones related?
It was Game of Thrones related.
So
and it was.
Was it about incest?
Oh! I remember now. So it was about. It was about. So Game of Thrones. You have these great houses.
Yeah.
You know. And so I was going to say, so imagine each romance subgenre as a great house. Like you have your contemporary. You have your
great house in that way. In my head, you meant like they were beautiful houses.
No.
No, like Wardrobe is like the Lancasters.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So I was going to ask you, house historical romance, where do we fare in comparison with, like, say, house contemporary? Like, do we fight them? Do we subtly undermine them? Do we form, like, actual alliances?
I'm telling you right now, we need a sigil and we need like some swag.
Yeah,
for
I know,
house
right?
historical. I'm not
Right?
kidding. I'm
Yeah.
not actually kidding.
What is our house animal?
This might be an RWA thing we need to do this summer.
Ferret.
Yeah. Ferret?
Ferret! Anybody have ideas for an actual
Like,
house historical
meerkat.
romance sigil?
Okay, a meerkat. We are not meerkatting, but
I might go with
Good
honey
try.
badger, but
The Maple Leafs is a hockey team. Hockey's like, meerkat.
that's not. I don't know what one of those things has to do with another. A and B. We need a house animal, not a house leaf.
right.
House vegetable matter. If we're going to pick,
Howler monkey. Well, they're small, but they sound like they're really dangerous, and
and
they
they
scare
keep you
people
up all
off.
night. No, that's romantic suspense.
Well, I don't know if you're writing a good romance. They keep you
Historical romance needs to be something like a stag or which is House Baratheon, but
A male rooster, also known as a cock.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
What
let's
type?
answer our
Actual
own
question.
What type of female character do each of you prefer to write? Beautiful debutante, wallflower, spinster, widow, etc.
All of those add the word dork at the end. Wallflower dork, spinster dork, widow dork, beautiful debutante dork.
yeah.
All of those with the word unconventional in front of it for me.
They took the good ones, dork and unconventional, which are kind of the same. Well, not quite the same thing. I guess unconventional probably works for me too, or independent.
Yeah.
Quirky.
Quirky for sure. Unlike us, who are totally normal.
Right. Yes. As you can tell, completely and utterly normal. Just
normal.
Definitely.
But to answer that question, I am going to advocate, as someone who has never seen Game of Thrones, that we form an alliance with House Contemporary, because
They're the big ones. They're the
they're
Martells.
the big ones.
The Martell. The Martell.
And we do have
Yeah.
some.
They have like all the.
Crossover.
They have all the crops and everything.
You mean the Tyrells?
Oh, whatever.
The Martells are Dorne, and so.
But you're right.
The problem is.
I'm so bad with names. This is.
Spoiler alert. Martell and Tyrell are both.
Yeah, well,
Their
you
houses
know,
are gone.
all I have to say to that is, do you think? No, just kidding. Have you heard what's happening in publishing? Just kidding. That's not. No.
We'll edit that out. It's
Live!
right. It's funny. Okay.
Tyrell, Truffle, I don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah,
so.
I don't. I'm really bad with names, which I should have remembered when I was.
What
doing
about a
this.
fox?
I like foxes. Foxes are good.
I like foxes. I follow Hourly Fox on Twitter.
I do
too.
I love Hourly Fox.
Hourly fox is amazing.
Oh,
What do you do when you don't have your hourly fox?
I'm telling you.
I don't want to live in that world.
You're not dark.
I'll save that thought for later.
Okay. Do we have anything else we want to discuss?
You guys have any other
Or
questions?
If you thought this was fun, we get to do it again tomorrow at.
Ooh, I remembered another thing.
Oh, okay,
for
go
it.
ahead.
Yeah.
So I was gonna have all of us guess which character is gonna die tonight, and whoever is right gets glory tomorrow, and whoever is wrong has to wear a paper hat.
Brilliant. Only one person?
Well, no, I mean, obviously all three of us could be wrong.
No, I know, but because
Obviously, Erica
we know
will be
multiple.
wrong.
I mean,
We can
multiple
make-
people are
we
going to
can-
die, right?
We can make more than one paper hat.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
All right.
Tell
I'm
me
ready.
some people who are currently alive so I can pick one. Well, I can't guess who's going to die if I don't even know.
If she doesn't.
Okay, well, we'll give you some choices. Do you want to go first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
So-
but I
Oh,
know,
you already know?
I
Go-
know
go
who I'm
Darcy.
going to.
Okay,
Yeah,
go
I
Darcy.
think
Go.
it's Theon Greyjoy. Gone.
That's a good one. That's a good choice.
Yeah.
So,
I was almost going to say that.
I'm gonna guess that
He doesn't have a penis.
I'm gonna guess that Liana Mormont is gonna go. I'm gonna be brave. I know.
See, she wanted to kill the children.
I don't want to kill the children. I'm guessing. I mean, she would be a good one for them to kill because she serves almost no story purpose except being a badass. Right. And people would be very sad to see her go.
She had a good little scene last week, where she was all...
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be down in the crypts. Or no, she's in the courtyard.
Yeah. She's
like that. Something like that.
The Bloods. And the crypts.
All right.
Fair enough, Alice.
That's right, Alice. That's right.
Okay, so Erica, now you have to decide. So other choices you could have would be Jaime Lannister, Brienne of Tarth, Samwell Tarly, Gilly, Jon Snow, Daenerys Targaryen, the Night King, Drogon, which is a dragon.
Okay, wait, that's a lot of names. Let me pick some.
Bran Stark, Arya Stark.
I believe
Sansa Stark.
Stark will be gravely injured, but
we
not
didn't
die.
ask who was going to be gravely injured.
I'm just going full Nostradamus right now.
Okay, sorry. Go.
I'm in a trance state.
Stark going to be Stark gravely injured.
Yeah. Gravely injured. Okay.
And then I already forgot his name. John Lannister. What is he?
Jaime Lannister.
Yeah, he's Jaime Lannister.
Yeah.
He's dead.
Is it okay? That was a he.
Yeah.
Just checking. Okay. Yeah. For sure.
Okay. All right. I just need to
the
put a
one
little
guy
asterisk.
that I actually met.
I need to put a little asterisk here saying that dying and being revived counts as death.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't know that was something that I should have been concerned about.
Wait. Dying and being revived by the Lord of Light counts, but dying and being revived as a White Walker does not count.
Correct.
Okay.
Because that's not really revived.
That's more like your body has been
awakened from the dead.
That's not you.
Like swine brains.
Yeah, pretty much.
Somebody asked a question earlier about the dragon Viserion. That is he a white or a White Walker? He's a white. He can't be a White Walker.
Well, he's a white flyer, right?
White flyer.
He's not. He doesn't like walk that much, right?
I don't know. A little bit.
Listens to a lot of white snakes.
Somebody had asked how we all got together. Planned. Yes, well, it would be cool if we didn't plan it, but we did plan it.
We did plan it. Yeah,
we did plan it. Yeah,
actually, Darcy and I have been part of a group that has been doing writing retreats for like 11 years now. 11 years. And this year, Erica is gate crashing.
She's totally crashing.
So,
yep. So we thought we would let you into the weekend craziness. Not once but twice, because we're going to do it again tomorrow in my Facebook group, Darcy's Duchesses, at 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern. And we will find out who gets to wear the paper hat.
Oh, yeah. Obviously not me, because my prediction was...
It's going to be like...
With Johnny Lancaster.
It's going to be so sad when she's the only one not wearing a paper hat.
Oh my god. So I actually did get to meet the actor Nikolai Coster-Waldau when I was in Denmark about a year and a half ago. So we can take the picture and you can make a big red X or if you want. We can
do some video.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks everybody. And if you watch Game of Thrones, enjoy. And if you don't, still enjoy.
Also enjoy. Yeah.
Also enjoy not watching it.
Yeah.
That's what I'll be doing.
Whatever you want to do.
You'll be trying. You'll be hearing it in the background.
Yes.
I will be hearing it in the background.
You'll be hearing the lamentations of
because I think there will be.
As I finish my last Wicked
They're going to kill somebody that I don't.
If there's a white Russian, you'll know it.
Damn it! Now I want to write Russian. Let's go to the liquor store.
Don't we already have vodka?
Yeah, but you need Kahlua for that too.
Oh.
Sounds like there's a field trip in our future.
For those of us that can drink more than kombucha.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Get in your friends.
Yay!
Bye. Bye. Thank you.